Drive to right, well socked. That ball is going. That ball is gone. It's a brand new ball game. A 2-run home run for George Valera.
In the air to right field, hit pretty high, hit pretty deep. That ball is gone! Ryan Lavacina with a walk-off home run. Naylor lines it to right. That wins the championship for the Rubber Ducks. Bo Naylor, the walk-off hit, and Akron takes it home in 2021.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Guardians of the Land podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Sledz. Got another special guest with me this week. He is Cleveland Guardians 2021 16th round draft pick out of UCLA, Zach Pettway. How you doing tonight, Zach?
Good, man. How you doing?
Good. Happy to have you on. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, no problem. Hope you had a nice Christmas and New Year's.
Yeah, no, it was good. Definitely a good time to spend with the family and everything.
That's good. So what have you been up to this off season? Are you out in Arizona yet, or what day are you doing right now?
No, I'm not out in Arizona yet. I'm actually just at home, and I've been training at UCLA where I went to college. So it's been really nice. The coach is really good to me. So let me use the weight room, let me kind of throw on the field to do anything I need to for bullpens or anything like that. So it's a pretty sweet setup I have going right now.
That's cool. So how did you, when did you get started into baseball? Like what age did you really get serious about it?
Get serious? I wouldn't say probably until I was like a little older, like 13, 14. Okay. I always kind of played it for fun. You know, my parents are super good at kind of letting me kind of just play it and enjoy it and kind of like learn to love the game first before they really started to encourage me to kind of start working harder at it.
Gotcha. Now you have a younger brother that plays as well?
Yeah, he played baseball and football in high school. And then he's actually just going to San Diego State now for school, but he was a pretty good quarterback back in the day.
Okay. Was there any kind of sibling rivalry going on growing up? Or?
We had it a little bit. He used to always kind of razz at me and stuff, but it was fun. You know, I mean, I'll give him that. He was definitely better at football than I was. So I definitely hold baseball over him.
Gotcha. So you went to Long Beach, Wilson High School in Long Beach, California. Did you grow up in Long Beach? Yes.
Born and raised there. Basically lived there my entire life. So yeah, I'm all Long Beach.
All right. So you went to Long Beach Wilson High School. An interesting thing I read, you were a standout there, but you actually started out your freshman year at shortstop and then, move into being a pitcher. So how did that come about? Was that something you decided you wanted to do or something the coaches kind of wanted you to try out?
Yeah. So freshman year, I basically played shortstop the whole time. And then sophomore year, I was lucky enough to play varsity. And we had our top two pitchers go down. And basically our coach kind of just pushed me to go off the mound. I pitched some my freshman year, but not a whole ton. And then I basically started throwing and it went well, started throwing more. I had a really, really good catcher. I had this guy named Chris Betts, who's Rays prospect right now, who was able to help me out and kind of as the year went on just help me progress and everything else. So I had him. I had a really good coaching staff there who helped me out, and kind of that's where my pitching career really began.
So was it a pretty easy transition for you?
Yeah, it wasn't too hard. I had pitched a lot. I had pitched some growing up. I kind of wanted to be a shortstop, but I think once I kind of started to understand pitching a little more, it definitely stuck with it and kind of made me enjoy it more.
Okay. So before you got into college, you played in West Coast Summer League in 2017. So what was that like? And how did that help you get ready for college ball?
That was awesome. That was my one summer ball experience. And it was definitely the best summer ball experience I could have had. I had a super good staff there. Our pitching coach, Jim Clemens, is someone I still talk to, a really good guy. And it was good. I mean, I got out there not really knowing what to expect. My first time really away from home. And I was in Bellingham. I'd never been to Washington before I got there. And it was gorgeous out there. The guys were all really good. I played with a ton of really good baseball players. And we had like Kyle Stowers. I played with my teammate at UCLA, Holden Powell, this kid, Austin Chen. So I was around all these really good baseball players. So I think that kind of showed me how many good baseball players are everywhere that you don't even know about.
Right.
So I think playing in that league really opened my eyes to college, how much harder you're going to have to work, getting to talk to those guys and understand what college baseball is like before I get there. It kind of gave me a preview of what to expect. And it was definitely a good transition for me. I think I needed it. Facing high school hitters, you're always going to be pretty solid, especially if you're going to the college level. So, I mean, I think it was something where I got comfortable where I was at, and then going out and playing in Bellingham really opened my eyes that I had a lot more work to do.
Okay. So you ended up at UCLA. Were there a lot of other schools recruiting you, or was UCLA kind of the most aggressive with you? How did that come about?
Yeah, they were actually the first school to talk to me. We talked for a really long time. I mean, I was honestly really slow about deciding where I wanted to go. Once I kind of started getting offers, so I spent most of the summer seeing like touring schools, seeing a bunch of different schools. I was a huge fan of Michigan. I thought Coach Bakich was a super good guy. I was a huge fan of Long Beach State because Mike Steele's there, and he's actually with the Guardians now. So lucky enough, I get to be with them now. But yeah, I think UCLA was the one for me. I mean, both my parents actually went there, so I was born and raised Bruin. I'd spent a lot of time going to UCLA events, and I think when you kind of combine Coach Savage, his philosophy, and then along with the school part of it, it's kind of one of those things that you can't really beat it.
Okay. Well, good choice with UCLA over Michigan. Come Ohio State, Ohio State territory here.
Yeah, definitely. I know. I'm glad I chose UCLA. I really am.
That's cool. So you let's talk about your 2020 season. You got off to a great start. You're 3-0 with a 1.05 ERA, pretty much unhittable. And then the pandemic hits, the COVID-19. How tough was that to have your season end after getting off to such a big start?
I think it was one of those things where at first I was like, why me? I'm having a good year. And I think you have to realize that everybody else went through it. You know, there was like, it wasn't just me who had a good year. So I think when I think I spent a little bit too long just kind of like sulking about it, really thinking, oh, the season's over. Like, I was having a good year, blah, blah, blah going on. But I think I kind of really started to realize, well, a lot of other guys are having really good years too. And you know what I mean? It's just one of those things you kind of have to get over. So I think I spent a little bit too long where I kind of regret now. Like, I wish I kind of just been like, all right, when you get on to the next thing. But it was definitely a good learning experience. I think just dealing with somewhat adversity and kind of like keeping an open perspective to it.
So what did you do in that time that you were down to kind of keep in shape, to keep training?
It was good. I have one of my best friends actually went to UCLA, and he lives in Los Al, which is about 10 minutes away from me. So him and I would basically go to the park. We'd find whatever gym was open at the time. We'd go throw and kind of just do whatever we could just to go throw or do something else. So that was nice. That was good to have a partner so I could do something with, you know?
Right.
I was lucky enough that I could go throw at the park or do something if I needed to.
So you had a good 4 years at UCLA. You were 2021 first team preseason All-American and made the regional all-tournament team, which of course led you to being drafted by the Cleveland Guardians in the 16th round, 486th overall. Take us through the whole draft process. How did that go? Did you talk to a lot of teams? How much did the Cleveland organization talk with you, and how much interest did they show with you at first?
I mean, I think they showed a lot. You know, we had scout meetings in the fall where I had talked to them. So I got a chance to get to know them. Our area scout was awesome. So he was a good guy. And then I didn't do a whole lot of talking about the draft stuff. My agent, Nate Heiser, is like the man. He kind of took care of all that stuff. I basically told him I don't really like dealing with that stuff. It stresses me out. I'd rather just play baseball and that be the end of it.
Right.
So he just had everyone call him. I mean, honestly, it's stressful, you know. It's one of those things where it's like, it's what you want to do, so you want it to work out for you when the draft comes around. But he stayed in touch with the whole time. He would call me if teams were calling him, and basically when Cleveland called him, he called me and said, look, they're like one of my favorite organizations. They take really good care of guys. He's like, I think this would be a great fit for you. And I was like, absolutely, we should do it. So that's how it went. It was stressful, obviously, but at the end of the day, when I look back at it now, I think it was pretty simple. And I ended up at the best spot for me.
Yeah. I think the term pitching factory gets thrown around a lot with the Cleveland organization, and they're really good with developing young pitchers. So you're definitely in good hands.
No, yeah, definitely. I mean, you could see, even when we went to Arizona, just the way they kind of take care of you, the way they had everything planned out, it was definitely top notch the way they do it.
That's good. Well, we're happy to have you in the Cleveland organization for sure. So how much did you know about the city and the organization before they drafted you?
I didn't know a whole lot. I'm a pretty big LeBron James fan, so I'd watched him play when he was in Cleveland. I've actually never been out there, so I've wanted to go because as a family, we've always wanted to try and see all the MLB stadiums, and I think I've seen about 22 of them.
Oh, wow.
And Cleveland actually is one of the ones that we haven't seen. So I'm excited at some point to see it. But I mean, I did a lot of like Google searches of what it's like out there. And I mean, it seems like a nice place, you know. I mean,
Yeah, it
I have
is.
a couple of friends who have been out there, so I'm excited to go and see it.
Yeah, it's a beautiful stadium for sure. So what were you doing on draft day? Were you with the family or did you have a party or anything?
No, I had like my three best friends from home come over. I didn't really want to do a whole lot just because honestly I'd gone through 2020 where I didn't know if I was going to be drafted or not. So I kind of watched that. I kind of did that alone too. And I was just, I didn't like love the whole draft day. You know, I kind of honestly at the end of the day, it's one of those stressful things that isn't that much fun until it works out for you, you know? So I just had like my three best friends from home, my girlfriend, they all came over. And then I had my parents here with me. So it was just them. And then I got to celebrate with them. We actually went out to dinner that night and hung out. So it was a really enjoyable day for me.
So it had to be a pretty big weight off your shoulder once you finally found out you were picked.
Absolutely. It was definitely one of those things where it's like you could finally like breathe, you know?
That's cool. So what are your personal goals for 2022 season?
I think my personal goals would be whatever team I'm on, just to move up. Wherever I start, basically, is just to try and move up through whatever system I can. If I get to the next one, then obviously the personal goal is just to make it up another step. I think you have to like look at it as a very like step-by-step thing. You can't say, oh, I want to play in the big leagues next year. I think it's just one of those things where, well, how are you going to do it? Okay. I think that was something that was kind of taught at UCLA where it's like, okay, what do you want to do? It's like, okay, if we start out low A in Lynchburg, then it's okay, I want to make high in Lake County by the end of the year, right? And I think it's just basically taking little steps to move up until you reach that ultimate goal. And it kind of helps break it down to make it not this humongous goal, but just a lot of little steps along the way.
Right. Those are, well,
so
that's good. I was just going to say, those are good goals to have for sure. Do you want to say something else? Or I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. I think that's just the easiest. That's kind of like how I like to process things. I think is just take it little by little and not look at it as one giant mountain, you know?
Gotcha. All right. So at the end, we do this little segment called Getting to Know Your Guardian. So I ask you some 10 questions that are non-baseball related, a couple fun ones in there. So if you're ready?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
All right. So if you had to play another sport professionally besides baseball, what would it be?
Football. I would love, if I had like 2 more inches, I would love to put on like 40 pounds and be a DN. But realistically, if I played football, I'd probably love to be like a slot or maybe like an outside linebacker.
Yeah, that's cool. All right. So if you couldn't play professional sports, what occupation would you desire?
If I honestly be a firefighter.
There you go.
That was something my uncle was a firefighter. I've always kind of looked up to that. I always thought it was a really cool profession.
Yeah.
So for me to be a firefighter.
There you go. That's a good one. So what is your favorite, do you have like a go-to game day meal or snack?
The night before I was super into making pasta. I would always do like shrimp pasta.
Okay.
But I think on game day, I'm honestly I'm a huge fan of like any like chicken and rice bowls, anything like that, where it's kind of like you feel good after you eat it and it tastes good.
Right.
So like whether it's like Chipotle, flamboyant, like whatever, it's kind of like something like that where it's like chicken and rice. I'm a huge fan of having that on game days.
Okay. Well, you might answer the next one with the Chipotle, but what's your favorite takeout?
Favorite takeout? Okay, is that fast food included? Like takeout?
Yeah, anything like that.
Probably Cane's. I'm a huge Raising Cane's fan.
You sound like my daughter. She'd eat that every day.
Yeah, no, I mean that's definitely one of those things where I was like, they built some. They weren't in SoCal for a long time, so I mean, I had never had it until I want to say maybe my junior year in high school, and I had it, and I was like, I've been missing out my entire life on this.
It's crazy. Yeah, we go to the one by us, and the drive-through line is always wrapped around the building out through the
exactly. Always,
it's crazy.
At all times, and no matter when you go, it's always packed.
Yeah, it's insane. So, what's your favorite music genre and favorite group or solo artist?
It kind of changes. I would say rap right now, and then I would say probably Mac Miller, favorite rapper.
Okay.
I think that'd probably be my go-to.
Okay. Well, how about your favorite movie of all time?
I actually was just having this discussion the other day, but I think it would. I It'd probably be a Matt Damon movie.
Okay.
I mean, there's like Good Will Hunting, which is a really good one.
Yeah.
But I think I'd probably have to go with The Martian. That's like one of my all-time favorite movies.
Good choice. Favorite pro athlete growing up, and it can be any sport, not just baseball.
It was Chris Archer for me.
Chris Archer. Okay.
Yeah, I was actually lucky enough. He worked out at UCLA, but I actually, when I was younger, I toured Ray Stadium, and he actually came over and like introduced himself to me.
Oh, nice.
And my family and everything. And so he was like a super nice guy. Then I watched him play, and he was like a all-star for years. So I mean, he was definitely my favorite player. So that's when I had that kind of connection to him too.
Oh yeah, that's easy to become a fan favorite doing that.
No, absolutely.
What's your biggest fear or phobia?
Spiders. Not
Spiders.
Like I hate spiders.
That's been a pretty popular one. Here's a fun one the other guys kind of got a kick out of. Who's your biggest celebrity crush?
Zendaya. That's not even a question. It's definitely Zendaya.
There you go. You had that one ready. I'm impressed.
Yeah.
All right. So what do you want to tell the Cleveland Guardians fan about what to expect from Zach Pettway in 2022?
I think expect someone who's going to go out there and kind of give it their best effort no matter what. Go out there and kind of play. I've always been a big fan of kind of playing for the team on the front, no matter what team it is, and kind of just playing with the people behind you. And like, it's kind of enjoyable now to kind of get a city behind you. It's like obviously not at that MLB level yet, but that's always kind of the dream, is to have be like a representative of the city. That's always kind of been a dream of mine, is just to represent that fan base. I kind of grew up in a city like Long Beach, where we take a lot of pride in everything that comes out of Long Beach, whether it's Snoop Dogg or it's Vince Staples or it's like whoever, it's like all the Juju Smith, whatever athlete or whatever it is. So it's whenever you have something that you can like represent a city, that's always like a dream come true of mine, is to be able to represent something like that for people. So just maybe someone who always wants to like make sure that the city on the front's represented at all times.
That's awesome. That's a good outlook for sure. And we're definitely glad to have you in the Cleveland organization. And it's a great interview, good stuff. And you got me excited.
Awesome. Well, thank you for having me.
No, anytime. And good luck in your first season. And maybe we can get you back on either mid-season or after the season and see how everything went for you.
Absolutely. Hopefully talk to you soon then.
Yeah. All right. I appreciate it, Zach. And everybody have a good night, and we'll talk to you next week.